Hello, so today it is predictions time. What is going to happen in 2022? Watch on and I will tell you to the nearest decimal point. So there are 14 predictions this year, more than the usual 10. That's a 40% rise. Hey, inflation. Now, one general observation that I've made over the course of many New Year predictions pieces is that life doesn't change on January the 1st. Trends that dominated the latter months of the previous year tend to continue into January and beyond. And it's only as new events occur, new stories emerge, and new narratives take over that the psychologies change and new trends transcend the old. But one broad trend of the past 10 years, you might even say the past 20, has been the incredible outperformance of tech. 20 years ago, the likes of Google and Facebook barely existed. Now they're among the world's biggest companies. But it's in the last 10 years that tech has really flown. For how long have been people saying tech is overvalued for yonks, and yet the sector from the Nasdaq to crypto continues to defy the naysayers. Why? Because this is the digital revolution. Tech is where the intellects, the innovators, and the entrepreneurs gravitate to. It's where the quickest returns are found, and that's why it's where the investment capital goes. Digital has a scalability that the physical world cannot compete with. Who's going to invest in a dirty mine in Timbuktu that won't see any return on its investment for 10 years when you can stake real estate in the metaverse and triple your money in a matter of months? Or for those like me who still haven't got their heads around what the metaverse actually is, let alone how you go about buying real estate in it, just buy a Nasdaq tracker, return 27% and enjoy hedge fund-like returns. Is the digital revolution suddenly going to end now that it's 2022? Of course it isn't. It's going to carry on attracting more talent, innovating, growing and expanding. There are bound to be violent corrections. There always are in the bubbly world of invention, but the digital revolution goes on. So with that in mind, we start with one, the Nasdaq. It keeps on rising. And just for clarity, I'm talking about the Nasdaq Composite. The uptrend continues and it goes above 19,000 for the first time. Prediction 2, oil. Get ready to revisit $100. We're going to need to burn a heck of a lot of fossil fuel to realize net zero and all the various green revolution goals that governments have in mind for us. The only problem, governments have been attacking the fossil fuel industry, whether via taxation, legislation, regulation, or even propaganda. And this has led to a shortage in investment and thus a shortage of product. Why go drilling for oil in the deepest, most far-flung, inhospitable places on earth when you can build a meditation app? The result, Brent crude stares down the barrel, of $100, or maybe even goes through it. Prediction 3, the US dollar. Weak start, stronger finish. One trend that has seemed on the verge of rolling over, in fact the top may have come in December, mid-December, is the US dollar. And starting in late May, early June 2021, the US dollar went on a bull market that led to falling commodities prices, mostly, and more volatile stocks. But the level of 95 on the US dollar index is support. Below that, and that 6-month bull market looks like it's over. A falling dollar means rising precious metals, emerging market strength, stronger commodities, even a stronger pound. It also means risk is on. Now, I'm inclined to think this is a rollover of the shorter term variety. In other words, it'll just be for a few months. Longer term, the dollar looks like it can go a lot higher. So my prediction, weaker dollar in the first few months of the year, though later on we could head into the high 90s. Prediction 4, gold. It goes back above $2,000. Now, I often seem to get gold wrong in my New Year predictions, usually by suggesting its time has finally come when it never has. On the one hand, I stare at gold's chart and I see eerie similarities between gold today and gold in 2011, 2012, when it range traded just beneath its old highs before capitulating lower and embarking on one of the most vicious bear markets ever to fall humankind. On the other hand, I see gold's moving averages lining up beautifully and a massive cup and handle pattern, which is an extremely bullish setup formed over 10 years, which portends much higher prices. So what am I going to say? Well, gold is the ultimate analog asset in an age where all the value is digital. I keep saying that, but heck, let's be positive. Gold goes above $2,000 an ounce. Prediction 5, the S&P 500, 5,000, here we come. While we're on the subject of round numbers, gold 2,000, the S&P goes above 5,000 times. In this age of zero rates, the S&P 500 has become America's savings vehicle, and that's where all the newly printed money goes, or so much of it. The S&P effectively does gold what gold is supposed to do. Harsh but true. 6, cryptocurrencies, they keep booming. And so to gold's nemesis. Everything we gold bugs said would happen, happened, except it didn't happen in gold, it happened in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's currently stuck in a bit of a range at the moment, just below $50,000 a coin. But under the crypto counter, metaverse coins, DeFi, it all seems to be on fire. And the result is that Bitcoin is losing market share. Bitcoin is now below 40% of total crypto market value. Ethereum's at 20%. This time last year, Bitcoin was at 70%. There are over 16,000 different coins, according to CoinMarketCap. It's nuts. The entire sector is going bananas. Coins you've never heard of will be the new market leaders. Coins that were the market leaders 3 years ago have faded into ignominy. Lord knows how you keep up. But Bitcoin remains the dominant monetary network. Currently, the sector is worth $2 trillion. My prediction, in 2022, it goes north of $3 trillion. Prediction 7, Bitcoin goes legal beyond El Salvador. At least 2 more nations follow El Salvador's lead and adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, most likely in dollar-dependent Latin America. Prediction 8, copper electrifies. It goes up and above $5 per pound. Prediction 9, UK houses grow even less affordable. It pains me to say this, but more of the same when it comes to the UK housing market. It continues up. While debt servicing costs are this cheap, the market will remain propped up and generation rent will continue to be priced out. The solution for the priced out young is lower prices. Lower prices will come from greater market supply, either via more building or higher rates. Can you see this government allowing either to happen? Expect lots of lip service, but no change to what is the greatest intergenerational injustice of our times. House prices continue their inexorable march higher. Prediction 10, the pound, it goes higher against the euro. Fans of Frisby's flux, the 8-year cycle in the pound, will know to expect the next cycle low in 2024. And on this basis, I'm looking for highs in 2022, 2023. Though what is supposed to be its bull market cycle, the pound has been rather pathetic. So I'm not wildly optimistic about how highs those highs can go. The days of a pound north of $2 are history. If it can get to the low to mid 140s, I'd say it's a short. So to my prediction, currently butted up against resistance. In 2022, it breaks out against the euro and gets to, €1.24. Prediction 11, silver disappoints as always. Is this the year silver finally delivers on its potential and goes back to $50? Nope, it can't get above $30. Prediction 12, Boris Johnson, to everyone's amazement, is still Prime Minister this time next year. Prediction 13, your Brucey bonus sports prediction. Manchester City win the league. It's going to take something pretty extraordinary to upset that particular apple cart. Meanwhile, Norwich, Watford, and I can't work out if it's Newcastle or Burnley, all go down. Let's assume Newcastle are saved by a huge January spending spree and say Burnley. Prediction 14, an extra Brucey bonus prediction. We have passed peak COVID. This is sort of one final thought as we head into 22. It seems almost everyone I know has come down with the latest Omicron variant of COVID over Christmas. If I hadn't tested positive, I wouldn't have known I was ill beyond a slight headache and a general lack of motivation for a couple of days, which is fairly typical for me over Christmas anyway. But gosh, I hope Omicron can bring closure to this unfortunate chapter in the history of civilization. A weaker but highly infectious strain of the virus gives us the craved herd immunity and no longer justifies our new medical ruling class holding such sway. I doubt their newfound powers will be ceded lightly, but my feeling is that peak COVID has now passed and something akin to free movement can slowly return. It's more a hope than a prediction based on my own instincts, not data or science, but fingers crossed. Anyway, here is to a great 2022. I hope you make pots of money and have a great year. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel by clicking on the button, which is somewhere on the screen now, and I'll be back with another video very soon. In the meantime, goodbye.